Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Smile. Here in the studio today I have Stephen Baker. Stephen is a former AFL footy star who played 203 games for St Kilda Football Club and won the best and fairest. Known for his resilience, tenacity and never give up attitude, he became a symbol of the heart and soul of St Kilda despite the controversies surrounding his career. Off the field, Stephen continues to embody determination. After enduring 15 operations, including a hip replacement, he takes on extreme physical challenges like completing an Ironman to prove that anything is possible. Today, Stephen channels his energy into inspiring others to persevere through life's challenges. Through his Grit Talks, he shares deeply personal stories of grief, loss, and his battles with depression. He shares strategies which are made up of gratitude, resilience, inspiration, and teamwork. Stephen's talks offer hope and motivation to anyone battling adversity. Now, Stephen and I met over 20 years ago now when you were playing at the club and my dad was the pres. So It has been a minute to say.
A little bit in between, yeah.
So I'm super excited to have this conversation today without any further delay. Bakes, welcome to
Thanks,
Behind
Ash.
the Smile.
Thank you for having me. Very nice introduction.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you here in the studio today and to dive into this conversation. But before we go any further, I'd love for our audience who maybe isn't familiar with you to get to know you a little bit better. So we're going to start with some nice, easy questions. Tell me. Oh, sorry. Frankie wants to get up, so we'll just give Frankie a minute there. Come on, Franks. They've bonded, these two.
Frankie loves me.
Should we tell them what happened though when you arrived?
Well, yeah, we lost little Frankie, and he was locked in the garage. So he goes, "Oh, we'll meet Frankie." And we had a bit of a search.
Literally, I was so excited for the two of you to meet, and then I couldn't find him because
Frankie loves me.
Yeah, so
because I saved him.
Frank's now decided that he's going home with you. Anyway, let's kick it off with where do you live? What does an average day look like, and what do you do for fun?
Living in St Kilda, the Esplanade there, very lovely spot. So morning walks along the beach, but doing a lot of, as you mentioned, the talks with Bill Grit, so travelling around Australia, sharing the word of resilience and never giving up. But average day, if I haven't got a talk, I'm usually keeping fit. I've taken up boxing, so I'm doing something there every day. I got boxing after this.
Yeah, and you're doing that like on a competitive level, aren't you?
Yeah, big fight this Saturday, May 3rd. Get down there at the pavilion. So
well, by the time this goes to air, I reckon we'll have the results. So good luck.
Thank you very much. I won.
Manifesting the win, I love it. Awesome. And what do you do for fun? Is it the sport? Is it the boxing?
Yeah, probably just keeping fit now. I can't do a lot. So boxing's something I've found that it's still okay on my joints because I've got bad knees. The hip replacement. So I did a few races. I did an Ironman a couple of years ago just to test the body, and didn't pull up very well after that. So no more running. Yeah, no more running. So boxing's something that I've sort of found that's got a great community down at Team Alice Gym, and I love the atmosphere down there. It feels like sort of part of a team, even though it's an individual sport, which I love. So I sort of miss the camaraderie of football, getting down there and hanging out with the boys, where the gym down there, that sort of, I feel like I'm part of a family down there. Yeah.
Tell me, where did these injuries come from? Was it footy related, or did it come sort of afterwards when you were trying other sports to stay fit?
Most of it was during footy, or they started. So I had a few knees, ankle, broke my foot. The hip, I think I had a few operations on, and then
I love that. Yeah, maybe.
It was over sort of, it was a long time ago. So I've had nearly every joint operated on. My fingers sort of still goes sideways a little bit.
Oh my gosh. If you guys are watching, can you do that one more time? Oh.
It just goes the wrong way. Hand operations, shoulder operations. But the hip replacement happened life after footy.
Yeah.
I got told not to play local sport because my joints were arthritic, and Dr. Ian Stone said definitely don't keep your sport going. And what I did is played three more years of footy.
Thanks for that feedback. I will not take it on board.
But I did, and then my body got wrecked, and then had the hip replacement. But feeling pretty good.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Well, that's inspiring to know that you're boxing competitively and that you haven't stopped moving your body, because I think it's probably a really important outlet for you. As a professional sportsman, to then not play anymore, there would, I imagine, be a real burning desire to still want to move your body and, as you said, be in some sort of team environment.
Yeah, I think no matter how bad your body is, there's always something you can do. Like I did swimming for a while. I didn't really enjoy swimming, then bike riding, and now boxing's something that's not too hard on the joints. It still gets you a little bit, but I've just found since getting fit over the last 2 years, my body's feeling better than it did before getting fit, even with the bad joints. So I encourage anyone, if they're feeling a bit crappy, get out there and exercise. You're always going to feel better.
Yeah. Had you done boxing before this recent stint into fitness?
No, I trained for about 6-12 months. I was going to do an MMA fight. That was my big goal back at I was playing for Sorrento. Then I hurt my knee. And sort of 6 months of training went out the window, so I sort of give that up. So I've always wanted to have a fight. And then, the opportunity came up. I think I called out Stevie Johnson, one of my old sparring partners on the footy field, and he didn't want to fight. It was too short notice. And then, Brodie Holland put his hand up last year, got the win against Collingwood. And,
finally,
after all those years. And then, and then now I sort of wanted to roll on with it, and I'll maybe only have 3 or 4 fights and see how I go. But
this is going to sound like a really silly question, but do you get scared about getting punched in the face?
Oh, you get a bit nervous. Like I was excited for the last fight, and then I remember walking out to the ring and just seeing my friends, family ringside. I'm thinking, should I could get knocked out? Because Brodie's a tough guy, and I was like, I could get knocked out in front of my friends and family here, and the nerves came over me, and I thought. Yeah, so there's nervousness, but also excitement. Like you're in front of a couple of thousand people, and the last one was on TV, so it's pretty daunting.
How does that compare though to running out onto the MCG?
I think it's
in the finals.
I think it's scarier because I think with football you've got
the team.
The team. You're running up a race with another 21 people, and I know you're sort of a bit. You feel a bit more not safe, but when you're walking out to the ring, you've got your 2 or 3 your trainers and stuff, but then you're in the ring by yourself.
Exposed.
The bell rings and it's like, shit, if you haven't done the training, you're going to get exposed and it's all on you. So it was a different feeling, but I enjoyed it, and I love sort of being nervous. It sort of makes you feel alive.
Get the adrenaline going.
Get the adrenaline going. And then I just remember that after the fight when I got the win, it was just ecstatic. So it was, very fun night, that one.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear how it all goes on Saturday. Now, Stephen, I've asked you to bring in a photo today, and this photo is from a time in your life where you were hiding behind a smile. So you were perhaps presenting one version of yourself to the outside world, but the truth was you were really struggling on the inside. Could you please describe for those who are listening along the photo that I'm bringing up on the screen now? What are we looking at here, and what was going on for you at that time in your life?
Yeah, it was the year after I got the flick from football. So I was playing at Craigieburn. I'm sitting in the backyard. I think it was a Monday morning. I don't think I'd slept for 3 days. I'd been on the alcohol, drugs. I don't think we're allowed to say that on the podcast. We're allowed to say anything we want, aren't we?
You can say whatever you want. Trust me, there's been a lot of alcohol and drug talk on this podcast.
Yeah, so I got caught in a sort of downward spiral. I lost my old man sort of mid-season playing for Craigieburn, so I'd already lost.
This was the year after you left Saints.
Yeah, after I left Saints. So I masked that pain, I suppose. So in the photo, I'm wearing pearl earrings. If you look closely, if you are watching, but I'm wearing pearl earrings. I remember piercing my own ears with my sister. My sister and I were talking about it a while ago, and just how dark those times were. But we're both hiding with partying and pretending we were having a good time. It was playing footy, and I'd earn my couple $100 and I'd go straight to my drug person, get drugs for the weekend, and it was all about partying. I don't think we won a game for the year. So I went from sort of being surrounded by inspirational people, going for a grand final. We went to Craigieburn. There was no offence to Craigieburn guys, but it was all about the partying. We'd finish the game.
Totally different energy.
Yeah, back to Bakesy's place, and then it was like Saturday night, Sunday night, and then some Monday mornings. It's just in the photo. So sitting there, my pajama top, drinking a lemon rusky, one of my favourite drinks at the time.
It's a phenomenal photo. I'm not going to lie. When you sent it through, I went, yes, this is what we're talking about.
I think I've got my pajama. I can't remember, but my pajama top open up a little bit. But I remember sticking the pins through my own ears to get the pearl earrings in, and then I think it was Australia Day, and then I remember going to a party, and I just remember in the corner just feeling out of place, and my sister and I said, let's get out of here, and went back and sitting around the fire with a few people, drinking, so it was just a dark time. Like looking back, I'm just sort of cringed looking at those times, 3 days, and then it was just a week of depression, play footy again, and then it was Groundhog Day. So yeah, that photo, I laugh when I look at it now, but I just think, oh geez, the sort of the pain, behind those eyes that we had at the time, that we were trying not to. And even my sister and I didn't even talk about our pain, our feeling, our pain. It was hiding it from each other, but we were just both caught in that sort of the vortex of downward spiral depression.
Yeah, it's that escapism, isn't it? And I think if you've always turned to alcohol and party drugs as a way to distract, avoid, have fun, numb, whatever it is, of course that becomes the solution when you experience an intense grief like losing a parent.
Yeah, 100%. I remember it was get on the drugs Monday, and then you get on the sleeping tablets just to numb it because you didn't want to go through the hangover.
Yeah.
That was like 2 or 3 days. I remember some days I was getting up in the morning and then taking another powerful sleeping tablet and just sleeping. And like I remember one day I woke up on the couch. I'd wet the couch, weed myself, and then I thought, oh shit, I better go to bed. Went to bed and I'd wet the bed. That's why I was on the couch. So I was like in a world of hurt. And it was, as you said, escapism. I remember Grant Thomas used that word, escapism. But I just sort of didn't really want to face life head on, I suppose. It was just wanted to escape every weekend, and that's the way I dealt with it.
And is that something that manifested after football, or was that your personality and something that you did from your teenage years all the way through?
I was always a little bit of a party boy, and like the first year losing footy, obviously was a bit shattered and wasn't the end of the world. I thought I'll enjoy myself and start partying, but then when I lost the old man, then it sort of turned a bit dark. It wasn't like I can let the hair down after 12 years of football, which I think most sort of young fella would do. Go back to the old ways, drink, enjoy themselves. But when I lost the old man, then it got a bit serious, and I think the depression kicked in.
Yeah. Tell me, when you left the Saints, what was going through your head at that time? Because I know it's quite common for professional sports people to have almost a bit of an identity crisis, especially after, over a decade playing at such a high standard. The club would have been your absolute lifeline. What goes through your head in terms of your future? Was there fear playing out? Did you kind of have an idea of where you wanted to go, or you're just handing it over and thinking, we'll see what happens?
Yeah, I was really just see what happens. I sort of look back and think I wish I had have taken some more courses. I think the AFLPA are really good with looking after you, but when you're playing footy, you think it's going to last forever. And I know when I got the flick, I think I was coming like second in the best and fairest. I remember looking back, so I had no idea that I was going to get the arse that year. So
have you ever had a conversation to understand what happened?
No, Rossi Lyon had a few drinks, and he blamed someone else, the new footy manager. But I think it was like I was getting old. I think I was 31, and I'd had a lot of operations.
So funny how we think that's old in footy.
Yeah, but I think once you get past 30, then you've got a year-by-year contract, and I think we lost the first final that year. But I thought I had another 1 year at least to think about it. So it was a bit of a sort of a rug pull, and I was a bit shocked. And I remember when Rossi told me, I didn't want to tell mum and dad because they loved going to the footy, and that was my first thought. Thinking, oh no, mum and dad are going to be shattered because they love going to the footy.
Oh wow!
So but then I didn't really know what to do. But they do give you a buffer. They give you a bit of you put some money away each year. I think it's different now with the AFLPA and how they set it up. But I knew I had a little bit of a buffer, so you have a year and then you get a little bit of a payout. So I wasn't too worried about working, but I did have a spot at GWS. They told me I might be there for a back, playing the back line. Steve Silvani was hooking that up, and then that got taken away because there was only 2 veterans allowed, and then I think Luke Power and Corns went there, and so I'm like, oh. Then I just went to Craigieburn, had a mate playing there, made enough cash to get by, and so I didn't really have anything sorted sort of life after football.
I wonder whether that buffer was actually a good thing or not. Because I'm just thinking,
I don't think so.
No, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, hang on a minute. So in your head, you're like, yeah, cool. I got plenty of time. I can kick it. Yeah. I can, take my foot off the gas, and that's a problem for later. Yeah. Meanwhile, you have this 12 months of just emptiness, and
I don't think the buffer was good. I don't think it was because I think I'd put like 10 or 12 grand a year away. So I think I had like 100 grand or something coming. I thought, I can last a year on that. I've just got to get through this year with football.
Totally. And
so the buffer was like enough to sort of you could relax. I think they do it differently now. I think they make the payout so they pay you out yearly for the rest of your life rather than just give you a big lump sum. I think I went to Vegas when that came in, and I was like,
Of course.
where'd that lump sum go? Oh shit!
Oh dear. What am I going to do now? Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you started playing at Craigieburn, and then was it your intention to play at that level until your body gave out?
I think so, yeah. So I wanted to finish with the flag. Like I played in a 1997 grand final with my brother in the seniors, and then the next year it was the reserves at St Kilda. We lost that. And I'm thinking flags are just going to come left, right, and centre. And then obviously we had the loss to Geelong, the draw, then the loss. I thought I just want to finish with that good feeling of a flag.
You were playing with St Kilda, right?
Yeah. I just at the end I just wanted to finish with a win, a flag.
Of course.
So I went to Craigieburn with sort of no aspirations. But I thought, hopefully I can help them win the flag. But we didn't win a game, so I don't think I improved their team too much. And then went to Sorrento with my good mate Troy Swartz, ex-Saner. He was coaching down there, and they'd won a few flags. I thought, okay, that's it. I'll win a flag down there. I tore my knee prelim, and then they lost the grand final. Then we finally won a flag in Bendigo, Strathfield Say Storm. I went there with my mate Milne. We won the flag, and then that was it. So hung up the boots. So I played 3 years of local footy.
And how did it feel to finally win a flag? Was it what you
were
expecting?
Good. Well, I don't know. I don't think it filled that void.
Quite the same as being on the G.
No, 100,000 people, but it was still awesome. Like we had an awesome time, and it was, I suppose, a good way to end the footy career. It nearly ended, I think, mid-season. I got a life ban from football from accidentally elbowing someone, but so I thought my footy career was over. Yeah, at Sorrento, that was at Sorrento. I nearly got the life ban, but yeah, I think it ended in a good way. So we won the flag, and good way to exit.
Now, I mentioned when I was reading your bio that your time at St Kilda was surrounded by some controversy. That time, the club, there was a lot of controversy that was happening. And I'm wondering, how did that impact you as not so much a player, but as a person? And how did you navigate media at that young age?
Well, I think I mentioned to you earlier, I had a life ban in the media, and I'm a media ban for, I think I had an interview about one of my reports, and cause I'd been reported like 15 times, and then by the end, I think it was Ross that gave me a media ban, because I'm always brutally honest. So it's like, you're not in the media. But yeah, as someone that kept on getting in trouble, I try to stay away from the media a bit. I know when Stevie Johnson, when we had the bit of a game where I think I got reported 4 times, and the media was parked at the front of my house for a week, trying to get a story. And I remember jumping the back fence to get away from them. But the Saints sort of went up. Yeah, a lot of controversy back in the day. But I sort of stayed out of it all, and I just like to think I just did my job and stayed out of it as much as I could.
Yeah,
Unless I was in it.
Unless you couldn't avoid it.
Unless I couldn't avoid it.
I actually remember, I don't have a lot of strong, clear memories from that time, because I was only, 15, 16 around the time Dad was there. I mean, he was there for 7 years, but I remember there would be times where there'd be a blow up, and then there'd be a huddle of players and their parents at the house. And so we'd sort of I never really knew what was going on behind the closed doors, but there always seemed to be something.
There's always meetings in-house. I've got a bad memory as well, but we had a few of those in-house meetings.
Those interesting times.
Yes.
And so because of that media ban that was imposed by Ross, which makes me laugh, did you ever see media as being a viable option for you to step into after playing? No,
I never really enjoyed speaking. I said to you, I'm nervous before these ones, but I remember when I got the flick from St Kilda, Steve Silvani said, you might come to GWS, you can be a backline coach, a player coach kind of thing. And I don't know, I didn't want to be a coach, and then I got asked to do something in the media. Why don't you do around the ground, a funny thing? I don't know. I like playing the game and then getting out of there and sort of stop thinking about footy after you finish. But so media, I've never really enjoyed it. But
and now you're a speaker.
Yeah, now I'm a speaker. So you've got to do things you don't want to do.
Yeah, I love that. That's really cool, because I imagine you've had to overcome a lot of fear, nervousness, adversity to get there. And we're going to come back to that in a moment. But before we do, I just wanted to spend a little more time talking about this period of your life after football when you were experiencing deep grief, and you've mentioned that you also experienced depression. So depression is something that comes up with a lot of my guests, and I speak to people who often say to me, I think I might be depressed, but I'm not really sure. You know, my doctor wants to put me on medication. Can I ask, for the benefit of those listening along today, how did that manifest for you? What did depression look like for you?
Well, it's when you don't. I wasn't diagnosed or anything, but I just looking back, my sister and I were going, we were depressed because you don't want to get out of bed, or when you've got no drive, and you just some days you don't even want to wake up. I think, and getting out of that rut was hard. It was probably a couple of years that sort of dragged on the partying, and it was. I remember there was a trip to Vegas with my sister. I did a toughest of the tough mudder. It was like a real intense race, and I just remember, I don't know, it was fitness, and that's the theme in my talks, is what got me out of the two of the darkest times of my life, losing footy, my old man, and then recently, three and a bit years ago, losing Warnie. He was a really good mate of mine, which dug up a lot of old memories, what I went through when losing the old man, and thinking, what got me out of that. So after losing Warnie, it was 6 to 9 months of getting on the sleeping tablets, the painkillers, and went back down that dark spiral. So looking back on what got me through the other tough time was being around people that love me, challenging myself, challenging my body, staying fit. I was looking in the mirror and thinking, geez, I've put on a heap of weight, lost all my fitness, which brings down the self-confidence a bit. And so just lessons I've learnt, I suppose, over the years. And as I mentioned, I was self-diagnosed, depressed looking back, but for me, that's what I share my story, what got me out of it. Yeah. As you said, the grit strategies, I call them, being grateful for what you've got, really appreciating the little things in life, resilience, doing morning routines, doing things you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And this morning, having a cold shower, I was like, oh, you hate it, but you do it, and then you're feeling great. You feel a bit better afterwards. And then, eye for inspiration, reading, listening to great podcasts like theirs.
Yes.
And T for the teamwork, surrounding yourself with good people. I'm doing the boxing with Team Alice Gym. Feels like I'm part of a team. And when you surround yourself with positive people, you automatically get lifted. So they're the things that I've learnt.
So powerful. Gratitude, I know, for me, is something that has been such a big part of my life since getting sober 5 years ago. Hi, Frank. Do you want to come up, buddy?
He's sick of me, Frankie. Frankie, I thought we were mates.
Mama, can I sit with you? I'm just talking, all right? Yeah, good boy. Gratitude for me, I started practicing gratitude on a daily basis when I first came into recovery, because I remember my brain was so fried and everything felt pretty bleak. It was the start of the COVID pandemic. I was married to somebody who I knew was wrong for me, even though he was a beautiful person. We weren't good together. He was still using. We were living in a 2-bedroom apartment in Sydney, and I felt so trapped. And gratitude was like almost this lifeline, just to be able to shift my perspective on such a micro level. It wasn't for me, it wasn't about the big things. Like, yes, I had a roof over my head. Yes, I was healthy, big, really important things. But it was more the little things, It was the fact that I had a full night's sleep, something that I hadn't had for years, It was the fact that I'd spoken to a friend who I hadn't heard from, in a little while. Like, it really made me, I really wanted to challenge myself to find the small things that were such common occurrences in everyday life that I was just completely ignoring. Yep. How do you practice gratitude? Is it something you write out? Is it an affirmation practice?
Yeah, so in my talk, I'd say for the gratitude, I write 3 things I'm grateful for every night before I go to bed. And I remind myself, I wear this grit band. I've changed the words on it, but every time I catch myself complaining about something small, I'll give myself a bit of a slap, and then I'll change wrists. So my sister and I are wearing it. We always that's complaining. My coffee's too cold. You complain about once you catch yourself, because I think you have like between 20 and 50,000 thoughts a day or something, and you catch yourself. Most people are thinking negative thoughts, which brings on more negative things. If you're consciously thinking about it, oh shit, that was complaining, that was negative, bringing myself down. You catch yourself, and you can sort of train yourself to be grateful for the little things. Oh, I can still walk. And I posted something on my Instagram yesterday. It was Ed Milet, who's a motivational speaker, about a lady in a wheelchair, and how he was inspired by that. So it's like little things that can inspire you to be better. But gratitude is something huge. Writing 3 things a night, I think just you go to bed with a nice feeling rather than thinking, oh, should I got this tomorrow? You sort of just think about the positive things.
Yeah, and you have that reflection on the day as well. I love that. It's like, I think it's Tony Robbins who says where focus goes, energy flows. And it's so true. Where you focus your attention, that's where you will experience more abundance. So if you can create a positive outlook and think of all the things that are positive, that you're grateful for in your life, you will energetically receive in more of that.
Yep.
That's been my experience too.
Yep.
So tell me, you're post-footy, you're stuck in depression, you're self-medicating. What was the moment that you went, something's got to change?
So we become great mates and mates for over 20 years. So I remember I think he died in March, and got to New Year's, and it was the first New Year's I hadn't spent with him, I don't know, for as long as I can remember. He'd always have some good parties. And Jackson invited me down to Sorrento, and
Jackson's his son?
Yep, his son Jackson. And I was already in a dark space. I was back on the painkillers. I had an operation, so I had access to some painkillers, and my shoulder's still sore. Give me some. So I was back on the sleeping tablets and the painkillers. Not so much the alcohol and the drugs, but I was just wanted to escape some mornings, waking up and just wanted to take painkillers. Just to numb myself, I suppose. And then New Year's, I remember thinking, I've got to go. I can't not go. And went down. And I just remember at 12 o'clock that night, I was crying in the corner. Jackson came up, gave me a hug, and then went back to his place and was drinking. I sort of snuck out, got an Uber home, and I was staying at my mate Troy's house, who had locked me out.
Great night.
Yeah, and I remember when I drink, I get really bad eczema. And I remember
same.
When you drink, and locked me out. I think he found me at the front, and then long story short, went to bed, got up, and had a big rash over my face. I was meant to have a lunch with Jackson and all the boys. I know with Troy. I said, no, I'm going home. Where's my keys? And I just remember feeling that low. And it was 7 a.m. Sun was just coming up, and walked out to my car and had a flat tire. And I'm just like, it just seemed like this.
The universe is kicking your ass.
Compiling, and I was just already feeling down. I just wanted to get home, and then I remember getting a tire change, getting in the car. I remember just driving home, and I remember a truck was coming. I think, I don't care if this truck hits me. I never had thought of just hitting the truck, but I just thought, I don't care if this truck hits me. That's how low I was. And then I just had that, epiphany when I was nearly home, and I thought, Jackson, we were talking. He was living a life using his dad's death as a springboard to be healthier, happier. Do things. He did a post on Instagram. What would my dad want me to do? He'd want me to having fun, playing poker, traveling. And I thought, what am I doing? I should be being a role model here. And I was the opposite. I was sort of, blame, excuses, poor me kind of thing, losing my best mate, all these operations, I can't run anymore. So I just sort of flicked a switch, and I remember my mate Matty Ferguson, he was doing all these, Ironmans and ultra marathons, and I remember he was reaching out, you guys want to have a coffee, and I was struggling, and finally I put the hand up, and I said, let's have a coffee, and I had a coffee with him. Turned out to be about 15 vodkas, and we got all of our problems out on the table, and then that was sort of he turned up the next day, and we went for my first run for years, and that turned into a long run, and then registering for the Ironman, and then it turned into I might do some talks about this. I think I got invited for a talk, and just shared my story, and just getting it off my chest.
Yeah.
Was a weight off the shoulders, and I think that's sort of one of the main messages is teamwork and talking about that you're struggling, because if you keep it bottled up, it can sort of
And we know statistically that men don't share as much as women, and that's part of the reason why suicide for men is so high. I think it's the number one cause of death for men under 30.
Yeah.
So I may have butchered that statistic, but it's something.
I think it's 15 to 45 or something. The number one killer. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's. I believe a big part of that is this conditioning to not talk, to not open up, to not be vulnerable. Is that something you experienced during your time at the Saints? Or were people pretty open with what was going on?
I probably think most men bottle it up like I did. Like I was considered as a tough footy player, so I was like, I don't want to tell anyone I'm struggling.
Yeah.
So I'd assume there was a lot of people that were the same. And I think I don't know what the stat is with men, but it's like 70%. I think men that commit suicide out of that. So I found that stat. I couldn't believe it, but. Looking back at my story, thinking I didn't want to put my hand up and say I was struggling until I was basically desperate, and then used fitness and friends to get myself out of the rut. So that's sort of the message I bring across now.
Yeah, and tell me, when you got that call up to come and speak, what was the first thing that went through your head that very first time?
I was just petrified. I mean, I was at a community kitchen in Frankston, and I think there was only about 20 people there. I got up there and basically just cried for 20 minutes, told a rough story of what happened, but then got a standing ovation. I thought, I just thought I was shit house, and I just shared what was on my mind really. And so I'm never doing public speaking ever again. So that's it. I was petrified, but then I think someone was in the crowd said, I'd love you to come down and talk to our footy club. I said, no, that was too hard. I'm not doing it. And they said, we'll give you $1,000.
Yep.
Okay, I'll do one more speech. That's it. And then that's it. But then it sort of, turned, it felt good. It got some nice messages. Yeah. A few people in the crowd, were suffering from depression. They said they went for their first walk or their first run, the next day, and got some nice messages, which felt great, which made me feel better selfishly. I thought I've got to keep sharing this story. And over the last year and a bit, the amount of nice messages I've got, and believe I'm making a little bit of a difference. So
Absolutely,
I've got to roll on with it.
Yeah, you're on a mission now.
On a mission.
Yeah, you've got a purpose. That's so powerful. Tell me, I want to go back to this morning routine that you mentioned, which is part of the resilience portion of the grit model.
Yep.
What does your morning routine look like today, and how has it evolved over time?
Yeah, so it started out making my bed. I saw a great clip. There was a 20-minute video on YouTube. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like an army sergeant. If you type in army sergeant, make your bed, there's a 20-minute video, which is probably my favourite speech that I've seen.
Awesome.
But then there's a little 2-minute clip about, he gives all the points about being a soldier and what's important. And one of the points was make your bed, because it's your first task of the day, gives you a sense of pride. One task completed leads to another task, and I thought, I'll try this. So I made my bed, and I thought, that's very good. I might clean my room. And the first day I made my bed, it led into what he said. I'll do that. I'll do some exercise. So now, first thing I'll do, I'll not let her touch my phone. So I'll make my bed, have my lemon water with salt. Excellent. I'll do my sit-ups and push-ups, and then I'll go for a walk, and then I'll listen to 10 minutes of a podcast or something inspiring, and then I'll get on my phone. So it's about probably a 45-minute morning routine, and
great.
And then I'll reward myself with a coffee after my walk. So
that is discipline. Yeah. Waiting 45 minutes.
It's hard, but
I do not.
I heard Mel Robbins said something about, I don't know, it was cortisol, something to do in your brain. If you have coffee straight away, it blocks something. I can't remember the science, but I thought I might try that. So if you have the lemon water and then you wait an hour, apparently it's good for you. And I think it does make you feel a bit better. And then the fact that you can hold off on a coffee, because I was like, wake up, coffee. That was the first thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm doing this new protocol. So I actually have to eat first now, which is making a difference. But I still have it pretty much within the first half an hour of waking up. But that's okay.
That's fine. Hey, everyone's doing their own thing.
We're only human.
There's no rules here.
Except for this, isn't there? No. Okay, awesome. So you've got that 45 minutes. Tell me, what's the thought pattern behind not touching your phone?
I think it was just something else I saw. If you start scrolling, you find yourself in bed for half an hour before getting out of bed. You just scroll, and I still do it sometimes. I'm not always perfect. Like some mornings, I'd wake up after a big training day the day before, and then I'd catch myself and go, oh shit, no, down, and you'd sort of snap yourself out of it, get to your morning routine. So I'm not always perfect, but if you've got something to fall back on, you can catch yourself and go, okay, I haven't even had my glass of water. I've been up for half an hour. So
Totally.
yeah.
And I think that's the important message really, is that it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you can create a foundation of consistency, it means that on the days when you aren't following your routine perfectly, you're not going to feel so off the mark as if you were completely inconsistent all the time. Like I know for me, you know, if I do miss a day of gratitude, it's okay because I've got enough stored in the bank that I can almost pull from those reserves.
Yep.
But after a few days, I'm going to need to get back into it. You know, like it's that consistency, that rhythm.
Yeah, if you've got something to fall back on, the grit strategies, the gratitude for the G, if you're feeling down, you might, obviously I write down the 3 things you're grateful for, but then I do appreciation texts. I try and send someone an appreciation text once a day.
I love that. Tell me more about that.
Oh, it's just if you're feeling shit house, like if you send a message of appreciation to someone. I saw this because I read probably audiobooks. I read a lot of audiobooks.
Great.
But yeah, one of the things was the dopamine that you get when you send a nice message, but then the other person on the other end will get dopamine, but then the person sending it actually feels good as well. So that's something I started trying, and so today I'll message someone, hey mate, I really appreciate that boxing session, or hey mum, I really appreciate this. Just little things, but it just makes you snap out of it. It's not all about me. You can put on someone else, be kind to someone else. It makes you feel a bit better.
It's so beautiful and such an easy thing to do, isn't it? Like really, for anyone listening right now, I want you to think about this. Imagine right now if you just randomly received a text message from someone who maybe you hadn't spoken to in a little while, and they were just acknowledging you and giving thanks. Like how good that would feel. Imagine being able to do that for someone else.
Yeah,
I love that you've got that. Do it once a day. That is so easy to do.
Yeah, easy text message. And there was another one. The Resilience Project was something I listened to and got some great things out of that. It was a letter. What was it? Write a letter to someone that you love. And I hope he doesn't mind, but Jack Stephen, he wrote one to his mum when he was feeling down, and I think that's still on her bedside table. So, an appreciation letter and handing it over. So that can be pretty special for someone.
Letter writing is so, I think,
a bit more personal.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you keep it, and then God forbid you don't have that person in your life one day, you still have those memories to hold on to.
Yeah, 100%.
That's beautiful. I love that. So you've overcome this challenge of public speaking, and now you're making a living from it.
Yep.
But you're also dabbling in, is it children's books? You've written a children's book?
Yeah, that came about. It was at one of my talks, and I wrote a script. I had a dream actually one time. It was about I was a great white shark, and there was a bully that was a bull shark. So I've written a book called Bully, and it was really about my dream. I've obviously added a few parts, but I remember waking up thinking, geez, that'd be a good movie, because I remember being scared in it, because I won't give away the story, because you got to get the book.
You got to go buy the book.
I got a meeting about it today, so I'm not going to give it away. But it was just a dream, and then I'm going to be doing a lot of talks about bullying and putting together a bullying course. I know it's a big problem in schools at the moment. So I've got the Build Grit, which I've teamed up with a couple of great friends who do some things in school, active attitudes. They're called active attitudes, Build Grit.
Awesome.
So they've got a great business where they go in and just get kids active. They do water fights, teach kids sport, and so now we're doing a collaboration. We're doing a bit of mental health, and grit. So we'll teach kids. I got them doing planks the other day, and reward the effort, not the talent. So whoever tried the hardest, it's not the win. It might not be the winner, but someone who tried their guts out. And we got a book with grit. And we do each section, the gratitude, resilience, inspiration, and teamwork.
Amazing.
Get them to do a bit of theory, and then we get them outside and test them out. And we've had a great response with that. So I think we've got like 100 talks booked in July just coming up. So
wow,
we're going to be busy. So we might need your help to do it if you're free.
Yes, reach out.
All right.
Wow, that's amazing. That is so inspiring. And to have that again, it's giving back. It's that level of service and purpose, which I imagine is really fueling you now today.
Yep.
Tell me, are there still dark days?
You still have the occasional dark day. I know when I look at old videos or something, and I'll get little tears coming up of Dad or Warnie, and then you might go and you order some KFC, and it's like just that one little bad habit can turn into another one. Then you might have a late night, and then you might go for. So I know you've been off the alcohol for 5 years.
Yes, I had one too many late nights.
Yeah, so stay away. I've stayed away from the drink this year. I think I've drank once this year. So it's been about 4 or 5 months.
How do you feel?
Feel great.
Yeah.
Feel great. So I just I know what makes me feel down. So if I'm not fit, or if I had a big night. I remember after my last fight, went out and I had a late night, got home at 9 a.m, stayed in my hotel stay at the Crown, then it turned into junk food for a week, and then I just, there was probably a month I just felt down. It was this massive up, and bang. I won't say I went back into depression, but there was days I just couldn't be bothered answering my phone. I locked myself inside for a couple of weeks. I just ate shit food, and so I think everyone's going to have a roller coaster, but instead of sort of big dippers now, it sort of might be like my baseline is getting better. So if I catch myself, I can catch myself slipping quicker. And I think if you stay away from things are harmful, like the alcohol and the drugs and all that kind of things that can start the downward roller coaster, you stay away from them and it doesn't activate it.
Yeah, and the other thing that I've found as well in sobriety is the longer I'm sober, the better I feel, and you get this accumulative effect. So it's almost like, I just wouldn't even want to have to experience a hangover again now, like even if it was on offer.
Yeah, it gets easier.
Actually, you can have a free pass. I'm like, no, I'm good, thanks. But it's interesting because, like by the end for me, like I couldn't go a day without having a drink. So I guess it's just about what your body adapts to and what exactly, to your point, what your new baseline becomes.
Yep, no, 100%. So I know after the fight, I'm gonna have a couple. I've got my brother and all my best mates there, so I'm gonna have a couple of drinks. But I'm not gonna I'm not gonna have a 9 a.m. like I did last time, because I knew that was just so I might stay up till 1 or 2 a.m. Neck minute.
I know. I was like, and can you do that?
Neck minute. But I remember saying to my brother, so we're not doing what we did last year. And he agrees. No, we're not doing that. I think we're wrestling each other at like 8 a.m. and
amazing.
But I think it's just moderation.
Moderation. Something I can't do.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. I'm much better in some areas of my life now, just not alcohol. Talk to me about motivation, because I think that is something as well. I think you're a naturally motivated person from like being a professional sports player. You would have to be. Yeah. But how do you maintain that? Because as you mentioned, there are dark days. There are, as humans, we go through waves and slumps. How do you stay motivated throughout those times?
Yeah, it's a hard one, because motivation, I think, it comes and it goes. So it's like some days I'm not motivated. Like I wasn't motivated this morning to have a cold shower and do the morning routine. I was like, but just doing it, like doing things you don't want to do. I think motivation, some days you're going to be motivated, some days you're not. I think the days that you're not are the more important ones. It's what you do when you're feeling shit that is the most important, because you're going to have pride. You go, okay, I did that. I woke up this morning, did my morning routine, had the cold shower, and then I was on the way here feeling good. Where if I'd have slept in, scrolled, shit breakfast, I wouldn't have felt as good. So so, but for me, I think I need a goal. I've got an addictive personality, so I know even with the boxing, that's given me a channel to put my motivation towards. I've got a goal, an end goal. So I think it's important for people to have something that they're striving for, I suppose, something to get out of bed for. Otherwise, you're dragging yourself out of bed. So boxing given me that outlet.
It's so true, isn't it? Having a point of something to work towards, whatever it is. Like maybe for you, it's someone listening along, it might be a holiday that you're going on and you want to be in the best shape of your life. Maybe it's your daughter's wedding. Like it doesn't matter what it is. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be this high level competitive activity, but finding something in your life that is going to help you stay accountable on the days when you don't feel accountable. I love what you said about the days when you don't feel like doing it are the days that are most important to do it. And also what I took out of that was find the small, easy wins. Mentally it's not easy to do, but getting in the shower and turning the cold on for 30 seconds to a minute is relatively easy compared to saying I've got to go for a 10K run.
Yeah, that's true. It's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
I play that video in my thing. I videoed my first cold shower at 6 a.m.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I played in my presentation.
I love it.
I might have dropped the F-bomb.
What about ice baths? You getting around those?
No, I was going for cold dips last year, and it was because I lived in Middle Park and I was closed, and there was the beaches have been a bit dirty down in the St Kilda. I went for a walk the other day. I was going to go for a cold dip, and it was rubbish everywhere, and it was all murky. Not that I'm a precious boy. But I used to do dips every day, but now I've sort of gone to the cold shower.
And you know
Bang.
what? Again,
It's easy.
path of least resistance. There's a bathroom in
Maybe
your
I'll
house.
get back in there.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Oh my goodness. I have just loved chatting to you today, Stevie. And I think that your story is unbelievably inspiring for a number of different reasons. And I really had this feeling that you're just getting started. And that's really, really exciting to see. So I can't wait to watch this space and see what unfolds and to see the impact that you are going to have with your grit talks, with the work that you're doing.
Yep. Okay.
We have one final question that I love to ask all of my guests who are here on the show. Now, that question is, what are your 3 non-negotiables that allow you to live your life today, happy, authentic and free?
I think we just ticked off one. That was the morning routine, non-negotiable now. Setting goals and gratitude.
I love it.
Gratitude.
I love it.
Look after other people and you'll get looked after yourself.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, if people want to track you down, find out more about grit, where should they head?
Yeah, you can email me, stephen@buildgrit.com.au or the website buildgrit.com.au or stephenbaker10 on Instagram.
Unreal. I'll make sure I pop that information in the episode show notes. We say here on Behind the Smile that when we recover loudly, no one needs suffer in silence. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.